Review: Reacher Season 2's bigger picture comes into focus in Episode 3. Reacher Season 2 launched on Prime Video with a trio of episodes, and by the time credits roll on the third, it becomes clear why. Season 1 debuted all 8 episodes on the same day, so viewers were able to binge watch it from start to finish. Season 2, Episode 1, ATM, wouldn't be enough for viewers to latch onto the story that will unfold weekly from this moment on. Each episode feels like a larger story in 3 acts, and the final moments of Picture Says 1,000 Words introduce the true mystery of the threat facing Jack Reacher and his former unit of special investigators. They found a clue about a missing team member and his connection to the villains this season. The key premise that makes Jack Reacher stories work on television and in the nearly 30 books about him written by Lee Child is his past with the U.S. Army's Criminal Investigation Division. Reacher is a mountain of a man who knows how to fight and kill. His greatest weapon, however, is his mind. From an obsession with details to how quickly he can piece together disparate clues, Reacher is not used to having questions go unanswered. It's almost surprising Season 2 adapts the 11th book in Child's series, Bad Luck and Trouble, because of how this status quo changes. From the first moment Reacher reconnected with his closest friend from the 110th MP Special Investigators Unit, Francis Neagley, he is just as confused as everyone else. The death of his colleagues and the threat facing the survivors have unsettled the normally unflappable drifter. It feels like more happens in the first 3 episodes of Reacher Season 2 than in the previous outing, but the true mystery unfolds more slowly. By the end of the series premiere, Jack Reacher discovers his older brother Joe has been murdered, and he's stumbled into the investigation. In Season 2, he's drawn into the case by Neagley after the murder of their colleague Calvin Franz. In both seasons, it's not until he's been questioned by a well-meaning police officer looking to solve the crime that he starts to get any real answers. Reacher again finds himself working with a detective who doesn't seem to like him very much. Only, unlike Oscar Finley, Detective Guy Russo has a legitimate beef with him. Thinking he was part of the plot, Reacher beat him up and left him unconscious in the street. However, since Russo is also a good investigator and knows who Reacher and his allies are, he knows they're his best bet to crack the case open. Leading up to Picture Says 1,000 Words, fans have seen the villains in action, specifically Shane Langston and the mysterious comic book aficionado who goes by various aliases with the initials AM. While their ultimate goal is still unknown, viewers get to see the former in action. Season 2 strikes a difficult balance. The audience knows more than Reacher and his crew, but not much. The first 3 episodes showcase the surviving special investigators are every bit as good as Reacher. If anything, in their company, Reacher has lost a step. The emotional nature of these murders, along with being reunited with his unit, has kept Reacher off balance in a way he wasn't in Season 1's investigation. Of course, in Season 1, Reacher wasn't really part of a team. He was the superhero, while Finley and Deputy Roscoe Conklin were the regular mortals helping him along. The Special Investigators Group is a team of superheroes, which allowed 2 of them to break off and continue the investigation while Reacher and O'Donnell were detained by Detective Russo. Neagley and Dixon visit a company called New Age, which they learn is tied to the killings. They also figure out the mysterious list of numbers found on Fan's hard drive are actually dates corresponding with the past 7 months. It continues to move the plot along while highlighting that the team is as skilled as Reacher himself. Season 2 of Reacher is more of an ensemble show than the first season. Amazon Prime's Reacher series, based on Lee Child's best-selling novels, has earned itself a loyal fanbase. The first season brought viewers a gritty, no-nonsense hero who embodied the brute force and investigative skills of the novel's Jack Reacher. In Season 2, the stakes are even higher, and by Episode 3, the larger narrative threads begin to reveal themselves, pulling the audience deeper into the mystery and action. A pivotal turning point, Episode 3 of Season 2 feels like a turning point, shifting from the steady build-up of the first 2 episodes into something more substantial. The slow burn approach of laying the foundation in the early episodes starts paying off as the bigger picture of this season's plot comes into focus. This episode starts tightening the screws, giving both Reacher and the audience a clearer sense of the stakes at play and the forces converging around him. Alan Ritchson's portrayal of Jack Reacher continues to impress. By episode 3, it's clear that Ritchson has fully embraced the role of the nomadic ex-military policeman. His physicality, stoic demeanor, and sharp intellect are all on full display as the story ramps up. In this episode, we see more of Reacher's investigative prowess, balancing his brute force with his sharp mind, an essential part of what makes the character so compelling. While Reacher is often portrayed as a lone wolf, episode 3 hints at more collaborative dynamics that deepen his character beyond the stereotype of the solitary tough guy. Peeling back the layers without giving away too many spoilers, episode 3 begins to peel back the layers of a much larger conspiracy than initially expected. What started as a simple investigation into a local crime quickly spirals into something far more complex and dangerous. The show's writers have skillfully woven multiple plot threads together, making it clear that this season is about more than just Reacher's personal vendettas or isolated conflicts. There's a broader narrative at play, suggesting that Reacher has unknowingly stepped into a web of corruption, organized crime, or perhaps even something involving higher levels of government or law enforcement. The pacing of episode 3 is also worth noting. After the slower build-up of episodes 1 and 2, this episode hits its stride, blending action, intrigue, and character development seamlessly. There's a noticeable shift in momentum, with more clues being uncovered and more questions arising. However, the episode doesn't give everything away just yet, maintaining a sense of mystery that keeps the viewer invested. It's a delicate balancing act between revealing just enough to move the plot forward and withholding enough to keep the suspense alive. Supporting characters step up. One of the standout aspects of this episode is the development of supporting characters. While Reacher is the central figure, the show smartly gives other characters room to shine. In particular, the law enforcement officers, both friends and foes, become more integral to the plot. Their interactions with Reacher offer glimpses into their own motivations and challenges. This season seems keen on exploring the idea that Reacher is not operating in isolation. The consequences of his actions ripple out to affect those around him, both in terms of allies and enemies. Episode 3 introduces a few new faces, and it's clear that they will play significant roles as the season progresses. These characters bring their own layers of intrigue, and their relationships with Reacher range from cautious alliances to outright hostility. The interplay between Reacher and these figures adds complexity to the story, and viewers are left wondering who can be trusted and who may be pulling the strings behind the scenes. Action and atmosphere, of course, it wouldn't be Reacher without intense action sequences, and episode 3 delivers in spades. The fight choreography is brutal and realistic, capturing the sheer physical power of Reacher while also showcasing his strategic mind. There's a sense of raw energy in these scenes that makes them feel visceral without being over the top. Unlike many action series that rely on flashy, stylized combat, Reacher keeps it grounded, which only adds to the tension and immersion. What stands out, though, is how these action scenes are framed within the larger atmosphere of the episode. The show makes excellent use of its settings, from dark alleys to more open, rural environments, to create a sense of unease. Every location feels intentional, adding to the mood and tone of the series. The cinematography subtly enhances the tension,